wonderful Scrappy friends. It is Jess here from the Scrappy Sisters. Do you ever make a layout that you just love and you have to scrap lift yourself again because you just loved it so much? That was me. Not long ago, I made a layout that used a floral paper and black and a whole bunch of photos. It was based off a sketch. And I just loved the way I overlapped the floral border to come like popping out onto my page. I'm sure you can remember, and I'm sure you didn't need another layout exactly the same, so closely together, but I could not help myself. It is just one of my favorite layouts at the moment, and it was the perfect way to get a whole bunch of photos on the page again. So this time I took the absolutely stunning floral paper and paired it with this gorgeous green. It's like an emerald green, I guess. It is beautiful. And then a nice little piece of white going in on top. So that's kind of the basis of how I started my page. And once I did that, so I gutted the floral, and then I just cut apart all of the flowers that were left in sort of the last 10 by 10 square. And all of the whole flowers, the full floral pieces, I put off to the side to be another layout later, which is the chameleon one, if you haven't already seen it. And the other florals, the florals that were around the edge, they're what I'm going to be using on this particular layout. So I probably should have shown you that just in case anyone's wondering how exactly to tackle this, but I promise it's not that tricky. So there's the basis of my full 12 by 12 piece of paper. And then here are my photos. So I've got 3 photos that are 3 by 3 size and 4 photos that are 2 by 2 size. So 7 photos on a layout, which I think is pretty good. Yes, they are smaller. They're absolutely smaller. There is not a single 4 by 6 on this, but 7 photos that you can clearly see what is happening and what's going on is pretty cool. And the actual subjects in this photo, they didn't need to be any larger. That was enough. So what I'm doing here is I'm trying to match up where these pieces of floral came from. And I'm 99% sure that that particular piece I'm playing with now actually did go on the other side of the page, but it essentially covered all of my photos. So I can't go there because I need to be able to see the people in the photograph. Like that one right now just totally covered someone's face. And that's okay because there's a little gap in between. You actually don't notice if I kind of move the florals around a little bit. They still just look like they belong there. And that is what I'm going with right now because I really don't want to cover up any of the subjects in the photo. I was actually the photographer this day, so I'm literally in like one photograph. So I definitely didn't want to cover my own face, that is for sure. So anyway, going ahead with all of my floral attachments and sticking all of those on. And then again, the general gist of this layout is absolutely done because the florals are so beautiful. It just does all the work for you. You've essentially got 2 humongous photos and all those florals, and you're like, wham bam, thank you ma'am, layout is complete. So once I've gone ahead and stick all this down, I do of course embellish just a little bit because that's what us scrapbookers do, isn't it? A little bit of more is more. So I'm being super careful when I'm overlapping this 4 photos. I do want them to overlap, but as my face is so close on the edge of the page there, and it's literally the only photo of me in this whole layout, I want to make sure I don't cover it. Because in years to come, I'm being realistic here, the people in these photos will not hugely matter. They are fellow teachers at my school, and you know, staff members change, things move, and that is totally fine, and that is 100% the way the world works. So I'm happy to be documenting them right now, but I know that they're not going to be, you know, a massive part of my life. It's actually more the point, the story behind these photos is actually more about what we were doing on the day and why this was so great. And just for your backstory, this was our very first day of work for the year, and we were playing a big, massive scavenger hunt game. around our school. And so we collected points. There was bonus, like money, but not real. There was a real life tab down at a coffee shop. So you had to run down to the coffee shop and buy a coffee and get back in time. And there's, of course, time limits. And what an amazing first day of work, right? And we took it pretty seriously. We had a lot of fun, but we were determined to try and win and get all of the points and try and get the bonus money. And yeah, we had a bit of a blast. So I had one random number 5 left, so I'm totally going to put that on because this is actually the grade 5 team. I do not teach grade 5 specifically, but I do, I'm a bit of a dog's body, for want of a better way of calling myself, because I work part-time. I teach a lot of everything. This year I am teaching Year 5 Science. I am teaching Year 5 Maths. I am teaching prep music. I am teaching Year 6 art. Is that everything? I think. Oh no, I'm teaching Year 5 grammar as well. I think that's everything. So I teach quite a bit in 2 days. So because of those Year 5 subjects in there, they put me in with the Year 5 team for the scavenger hunt because the specialist team, so the art and the music and things and the PE, was a little bit too large. So then I decided to use the title Game On. Now, anyone just looking at this layout would not really understand that. The word Game On does not really go with the beautiful florally page that I've created. But once you read the journaling and hear the backstory, it will make total sense. So these are a few more of those leftover chipboards that I had from when I made my using up your thickers layout, and I'm going to go ahead and emboss those with gold. And I won't show you the whole process, but I do emboss them twice. Can you believe these tweezers I've been using? They came out of a bonbon for Christmas. How super handy, right? They're not the absolute best tweezers in the world, but they're better than the 0 tweezers I used to use before, so I'm pretty impressed with them. So I'm just going to emboss all those up. Bonus points if you notice that I forgot the exclamation mark and I put it away. So silly. So I'm going to heat gun this twice, and I'm actually going to emboss it twice because it just has a smoother coverage. So that is definitely a tip for you if you are new to embossing. It's worth the time and effort to emboss it twice, just to get the best sort of look on your thickers. You want them to be as well covered and smooth as you can. Pop them all back on my paper, and I obviously work on that piece of paper to not lose. It minimizes the amount of waste I have of the embossing powder. And I'm using Stampin' Up embossing powder as well, just in case you were wondering. So yeah, gonna heat gun that. I'm sure you've all seen how to emboss before, but sometimes you never know. So I leave it in every now and then, because the one time you don't leave it in, someone says, "Oh, how did you do that?" So I've left it in this time. I love watching embossing. I love watching the powder turn to liquid and I think it's incredible. It's such magic. And did you know, I did not know this, that Susan taught me that you can just emboss with water as opposed to the Versa glue. Is that amazing? That is game changing, right? I haven't actually tried it, but yeah, Susan Elks, I think her last name is. Someone please correct me in the description, in the, comments down below. Told us, the world, told Facebook land, that, yeah, you can emboss with water. Incredible. She made this gorgeous rainbow. So, yeah, definitely worth having a little play with that. So, I had a problem. The word game didn't fit. Great. Ideally, I wouldn't have had the E going over the border at all. I would rather it fit without hanging over the edge, but it just was not going to. So just getting it cleanly on the page was enough for me in the end, because if I had nothing on top of the photograph, it didn't even fit on the page. So here I go, popping up each letter with foam, because I want to have the G on top of the photograph, and if I'm going to put the G on top of the photograph, it's going to be popped up. And then that means I need to pop up the A, the M, and the E as well. I've asked this question before, but is that what you do? Do you pop up all of your letters, or would you have just stuck the A, the M, and the E straight flat to the paper? I just never know, and it's so much work and it's so much effort, but it looks so pretty when you do it, so I do it every time. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of that now, and we're going to magically back to a finished title. And just like that, we're ready for our Heidi Swap colour shine. So I'm going to come on in and splatter some of that on there. I am so close to being empty with this beautiful little gem. And I've got the wonderful Jen Hatfield version waiting in the background, ready to come and take over for me. I decided it needed a little bit of bling. So I pulled out these blings and I ummed and ahed because they're actually super yellow compared to gold. But I decided, it doesn't matter. You're not going to look that closely at it. It's going to be fine. So I end up popping those on, and I just pop on a little uneven number of those just in and around the layout, just to add a little something to sparkle this little baby up. I've got 5 of them. And then this layout is done, and I promise I won't make you sit through this version again for the 3rd time. But I just loved it. Do you have any of your own layouts that you do this with that you just love and have to make again? For those of you that are wondering, that are playing along at home, they are in 2 completely different albums. This layout is for 2020, and the other version of this layout goes in 2013. So they're like miles apart from each other in terms of the albums they're going in. They're just super soon. I've just made them super close together and put them on my channel super close together. So thank you so much for sticking around. This was a bit of a long one, especially for a video that you've already seen. But I loved making this, and I hope you have a little go at making this yourselves over for your own layouts, and I can't wait to see you guys next time. Thanks everyone.